Thanks for tuning into this episode of Through Jeremiah's Eyes. Today, we're going to have a conversation about the delicate balance between freedom and security. It's been an aspect of life that has been debated upon for centuries between different societies, countries, and even to this day, people. There is no perfect society or perfect balance, but we're going to dive into this topic and how it is perceived through our eyes and how it is tied into everyday living. Let's start this episode by having our special guest introduce himself.
How y'all doing, everyone? My name is Javon Beaver. I'm Jeremiah's godbrother, and I've been doing security now for about 2.5 years, so that's kind of why I've been brought up on this podcast. On the topic of freedom versus security, I'm all for like the freedom aspect of just the freedom to be able to have the choices and do whatever I want to do, even though I do know there are limits to that. And when limits overstep, I think freedoms that everyone should have, that's the problem that I have. I think everyone should have the freedom of like the choices they do and things they get into, and those shouldn't be taken. No matter how much the security you get for it, you should never have that taken from you.
Yeah, so no matter the trade-off, being able to have those choices given to you.
Certain choices, not every choice, because there are freedoms you give away to get a certain level of security, which is okay. But when they infringe on like minor things that, like a good example, I don't want to get into like the whole COVID thing, but I just don't once you start taking things away, they don't get given back. When somebody that you don't know, that like some politician you don't know from a higher source can just dictate what you're gonna put in yourself, that's a freedom I'm not comfortable or willing to give somebody that's not myself. Don't think anyone should ever want to go back and forth with that. Like you're not just gonna have some random person or some random doctor coming to you like, you need that. That's what you're gonna get. That's what you're gonna get. That's what it is. No ifs, ands, or buts. That's a freedom I'm not willing to give up. Something like that.
So let me ask this then: what does freedom mean to you?
The ability just to have 100% choice in whatever I do with myself, with my own person. That's what freedom is to me. That and just the liberty to be who I want to be. 100%.
And in what ways have your experiences working in security shaped how you view this, or how do you think that it is shaped how you view this? Has it changed any?
Slightly, especially from working unarmed and armed security. Like there's major differences there. And the time I was working unarmed was in the hospital, seeing like some of the things that people are limited to just in the hospital sense. It's kind of made me, or I could have said in the hospital sense, just in security doing like in there, how we limit people that can come in and do things and all stuff like that. I don't necessarily agree with a lot of the stuff that I had to do while I was there, like barring people from seeing their loved ones when they couldn't. Even though I understand we're in a pandemic, if someone is passing away, I feel like they should be able to see their family.
Yeah, I agree.
But being able to, or I shouldn't say able to, I was required to turn people away if there was a certain limit or amount of people. Mm-hmm. You could not come in there. And I might have to go back and forth with people saying like, no, like I understand the situation, but I can't let you in. I have to do my job. And it's kind of like, who am I to say that they can't see the person that they want to see who's passing away or is like terribly sick or they haven't seen in a long time. And then on the armed side of things, just having to follow whatever rules the contract or the contractor gives us. Like whoever that person is, I have to do what they have to say. And basically, even though you're not a cop being armed security, whatever or wherever you're stationed for, you're basically like a on-site cop. So whatever they say has to happen. And even if I see somebody's not really doing anything or like acting up on whatever the side is, if that contractor calls me, say they got to go, no matter what, or like they're doing something that I know they're not doing, I still have to go and act like they are because that's what I've been told to do. So that's kind of changing in a way, just seeing stuff like that, because I don't think I'm in a place to ever tell someone, no, you can't go see who you want to go see, or I'm gonna go make something out of nothing when somebody's doing nothing.
Yeah, and I feel like that's where like the whole like why it's such a delicate balance, especially like as you're saying with COVID, and not like if somebody is sick in a hospital and only a certain amount of people are allowed in the building, or when even at like the peaks when nobody was allowed, no matter if the person passed or if they were getting ready to pass. I feel like morality and ethics is what is messing with that balance, because of course everybody has morals, they're all ethical standards of society, but at the end of the day, everybody has different opinions, everybody's grown up in different ways, everybody thinks in different ways. Some people can think that it's for the better society to have this, but then some people can think that that's the worst thing imaginable for society. And I feel like that's why that balance, I feel like I'm repeating myself, But I feel like that's why that balance is, it's such like
it's
great,
a hard one.
it's a great area. And that's why I feel like even though there have been hundreds, millions of societies, millions of different ideas that have come across the table, millions of different topics, but there hasn't been a single topic that everybody has ever agreed on. And I feel like this is pretty much the same thing. We all want freedom, but at what cost? We have computers, we have phones that listen to us all the time. Like we be talking about like no free promo, but
give it to
like some like a restaurant or something, and then you see an ad for it the next day. But businesses are able to mask that as, oh, we're trying to improve your user experience. But in reality, they're taking information on you. Same way when you text people something, same type of thing. But are we trading that freedom for security, for the convenience factor?
That's it. It's like an extreme freedom because like stuff like that you won't ever see on a surface level unless like it actually bothers you that you might see an ad for something you talked about. I can understand why they would creep somebody out, but it's not a freedom that is like infringing on your lifestyle, and most people won't really be conscious of it because it doesn't affect you. Now, I don't agree with it entirely because it's still like a invasion of space because like, even though you got your phone like locked and it's away, it's like it's still picking up on stuff. It's not like there's somebody like or supposedly ain't nobody like let me say that. It's like there's not supposed to be somebody sitting there just ear hustling like whatever I do, what I'm saying to families, loved ones and stuff like that. But I can see it also being kind of like a good thing because of some like criminal activity and stuff is happening. There's ways you can track stuff like that. But I know like Apple doesn't do it, right? Isn't like Apple won't give up like phone records and stuff.
Oh yeah, there have been some.
There has to be like special requirements and stuff like that. They have like tapping the phone. So like in a way, like they still have access to it. They can get to it, but they're not giving it out. So I mean, they're still kind of protecting the freedom there. But it's still creepy, like knowing that it's on the back end of things. Like there's somebody there or something listening at all times.
Yeah, I feel like that's like so again with the fact that they have the answers.
Yeah.
But you're not able to get those answers. So that's like another security thing. Like it's having your personal security protected. But if there's a situation that happens and giving up your freedom is compromising the security of whoever, whatever it is. I don't know how to explain it. But pretty much you get the picture.
Yeah.
I don't know, I feel like as I said, it's a delicate balance between like morals and ethics. It's crazy.
And then even with morals and ethics, you got people who look at things in the like about numbers or like what things say.
Yeah. So straight statistics.
Exactly. They just want straight facts. They ain't nothing else. Like okay, this is why it's gonna be and it's gonna be like this, and you have all those people balancing and juking and vibing and all that, and then that's why it's a whole mess.
How much would you be willing to sacrifice for your freedom?
I don't know. Like I'm not probably like a good person to ask this. Like honestly, if I could, 22 years old, I've lived in like this media, so technically I've never been free. I guess in a way, there's always been some type of phones or something to listen in on stuff. But from my experience, if I could have the option to have like nothing, like it's just me protecting myself as much as possible, I would. But I don't think that's realistic. That's me thinking in a make believe world. But my answer to it would just be I wouldn't want to give up anything personally. Even though that's not realistic, that's what my answer would be.
So that would be say you can create your perfect dream world. What would your balance look like between freedoms and security? Would everybody just be able to do whatever they want to? But then, if so, what type of security measure?
Everybody, it's not okay. So it's not like a lawless world. We're not going to be in the wild, wild west. But maybe a good way to like remedy this, I guess, would have. Maybe in places there'd be like teams and stuff, or like the hospital example, I would say, if like a loved one's like passed away or we're in a pandemic and they can't go in, there'd be somebody there to kind of like gauge like what the actual situation is and like if we can allow it. Maybe once again, it's not realistic, but maybe I don't know. Like just some way to do that.
Just the perfect world. Whatever.
I guess that would have to be my thing. There would have to be like a set team of people that go around. Okay, we're gonna look at this for what it is, or I guess the morals, ethics, and maybe a statistics team on standby. That's what it'd have to be. That's the only answer I'd have for that.
So like a mix of everything.
Yeah, That'd be the only way to make it perfect.
Yeah.
But I definitely wouldn't want to be lawless or anything. Like, I'm not saying like people should be free to do like terrible stuff. No,
Yeah.
no. I mean, that's too much. I just don't think, or just the whole tapping in of stuff is like that security. I think people should feel comfortable with being in their homes and be like, if your phone listening in on you trips you out, that shouldn't have to be an issue.
Yeah.
I just think like stuff like that. Like for like technology and all that shouldn't be an issue. You shouldn't have to be covering up cameras on your phone so you think people watching you.
Yeah.
Wouldn't exist in my world. That's what I would like to say. It wouldn't exist.
Yeah. Being able to have the freedoms and security, like having the balance between it.
Mm-hmm.
But then there are some freedoms that I feel like people are just relying on solely statistics and not looking at morals and ethics.
Yeah.
Again, wrapping back into the hospital idea. Maybe statistics say that we shouldn't be able to do this, but try and come up with a process so that we can have people be able to see their families if they're in a like dire situation. Because I feel like it's deeper than just numbers.
Exactly.
But
and people will hide behind the numbers. It won't be the person who has to be in the way of the person. You having only 2 people be allowed to go up to a room with somebody passing away, and there's a whole family of like 16 outside, and you're in the middle of that. It's not pretty because you have 16 heads outside, probably ready to take your head off because you're the guy in the way of that person. The person behind the numbers is nowhere in front of that, so that's why they get to say stuff like that. They're not. Another reason why I don't like the higher ups being able to choose what's going on. They're not the person actually in the working class. They're up here, not actually like involved with society and like the working class people as well. So it goes down to that level. It goes higher than that too. Like they're not there, but they make rules for the people that they're not there for.
It's a whole bunch of intertwined politics.
Just even in small stuff like security as well. It just works just like that. Because there's somebody above the security officer that's probably giving you a hard time and stuff like that.
Yeah.
There always is. It's not like, I can't say for every security officer and stuff like that. Some people are just like, they're just mean and terrible people. Even in security that they do it, just bad workers.
Yeah.
And they just go and get on your best and do this terrible stuff. But let's say most of us, we just have to do a job.
Yeah.
We're just doing what we're told. Unfortunately, I don't agree with a lot of things I have to do.
Yeah.
Gotta do it though. I want my job. I need money. Like just like we're working, I need it.
Yeah.
So that's why most of the time it ends up like that.
It's crazy. It's a wild world. So do you believe that businesses and governments are overall helping, even though that balance is always changing? Even though it's a constant battle. People are always debating whether you should have to do this or pro this, anti this. Oh, we want a law about this. Oh, we want this law to be loosened. We want this law to be strengthened. Or a new law to be made in general. Even though that causes conflict, do you think that overall it helps?
That's a hard question. Like, once again, only 22. From what I've seen at face value, I've seen...
Yeah, based off of what your experiences. You also have a unique experience being a black male as well. And insecurity.
Well, in that case... it seems like most stuff is trying to really beat us down most of the time. And with the government being good or bad, this whole pandemic has put a wrench in stuff. So it's kind of hard to say like if it's like really good, but I just know stuff has been put on pause and all that and slowing down things. So I guess in a way it's bad, but I haven't seen it in like its peak. What was 2008, the house market crash and stuff like that.
Yeah.
2008 was in third grade. I wasn't really there. I wasn't around to be like, oh, that was bad. Trump stuff, still shaky. All I know is what numbers was. Then we have the lowest like unemployment for a little bit. And stuff like that, just for a while. But then COVID happened and everything, people started going to work and then all that. I'm just going to say it's in a bad state right now just because there's this shortages on like almost everything. Everything is on back order all of a sudden because of this. But I would say it's not in a good state. That's my final answer. It's not good.
Do you think that the battle is, or like the fact that we have conversations about it constantly, do you think that that's a good thing?
Oh, this is how the media is. It has to be a conversation.
But then,
it has to be.
So tying into that, then the divisiveness on freedom and security, because at least from the standpoint of like just society today, like the role in social media and media in general, to be honest, how it's pretty much splitting everybody into either I love this or I hate this.
That's
I'm completely for this, or I'm completely against this.
That's the objective.
And that's giving people the freedom to be able to have those feelings, but then also directing that freedom. So then they're also, it seems like, at least to me when I'm thinking about it, it's like we'll always have half of everybody on one side and half of everybody on another side. And we'll never be able to live in like a perfectly like sane environment. Not even like a majority. It's just like we're getting pushed this way and then that way, and then on a different topic, we're half this way, half that way, and it's just pushing farther and farther. People aren't listening to other people's opinions.
What you just said is a whole bunch of fabricated freedom. That's all it is.
Yeah.
They're gonna, how you said, they're gonna steer it in the way, or people don't understand that. It's okay to not agree on things. We're all humans. We all have our own different opinions. And what makes a smart person versus a dumb person, in my opinion, is if they can internalize what somebody else is saying, even though they don't agree with it. Because I don't have to agree with you to like understand like what you're saying, but I can take it. You get that? Okay, that's where he's coming from. That's why he's saying this. Still don't agree, but at least I understand, and then that's it. I'm not like I hate you or nothing like. But the media's gonna make it that way. They're gonna show the extremes. When people see the extremes, they always think everybody is on like left or right. That is how it is, and it's been like that ever since, or even back when I was in my old video production classes. The video production lady or teacher, I'm not calling her lady. When she was teaching us about like news and stuff, like when she was growing up, she was older. Like news wasn't 24/7. So whenever you did see it, like on the news, it was usually positive stuff because it's not on all the time. And as she grew up and like news became 24/7, human beings don't want to see positive stuff all the time. That's not how we work.
It's like, let's get negative.
We actually thrive off of kind of negativity, and it's and as it's gone and gone on, it's getting worse and worse. And it's being very apparent now. It's like we're in the media age, definitely now. Like people our age, we're in the middle of it. You got like all social media, you got Instagram, TikTok, stuff like that, Snapchat. And I've been off of it for, I'm going on 4.5 years now.
That's
this
crazy.
year. I don't have Instagram. Don't have Snap, or I have Snap for like a security group chat, just to go back and forth with security friends. I wouldn't qualify it. I'm not on Snapchat like actively going
like going on stories and all
like
that.
Like using all that stuff, because it's actually, if you look at it, some people actually get on those apps and they're just on them, just droning away, just wasting life to stare at a screen or trying to one up people or be nosy. Is even though I say be nosy, I'm a very nosy person, and that's why I'm glad I'm not on it, because I'll sit there and stare at Instagram for hours and being nosy, not even doing anything like weird, but it just takes your time.
It's just scrolling mindlessly.
Yeah. And while you're doing all that, they can just be pumping stuff into your head. Like, this is what the steering of like what's going on. Like, you get stuck in like echo chambers of people on one side. You keep only hearing what you want to hear. That's what it's going to do. They're going to put you in a place where you can have your echo chambers. You'll never hear the opposite side. And you start closing yourself off to that, because when you start hearing things from that side, you're just like, whoa, that's completely wrong. You're stupid. You're dumb. Don't need to hear any of that. Even though there are some topics like that where if you agree with it, it's like you're actually like, we need to think about you mentally for a little bit. But like a lot of topics, it's like there's people have different opinions on it. Like it's not like, oh, I need to hate you now.
Yeah, I completely agree.
Media controls that. They want it to be like that. So there's nothing on them. It's on the regular people that actually are the working class is the ones that are getting played with. Where the higher ups are just chilling. They're cool. They've been doing what they've been doing the whole time. It's all messed up, but
it's like the thing with
it's going to take everyone to come together to kind of get that. But what they're doing is not probably whatever happened.
And that's with like the whole Facebook, everything that happened with Facebook and how they got sued, in their algorithms and social media algorithms and everything. Again, tying into the whole security thing. Are you going to be able to let them collect all this data on you, but then not be able to share it with the government? But at the same time, they're still using that data against you to do what the government seems to want to do. That's
the shady part. Like, once again, we'll never know. As like a regular person, you won't ever know, because I don't think they do share it. But money talks when it comes to like government stuff. If you pay somebody enough with like these big corporations, like, once again, we'll never know about it. We won't ever see the transaction. But if it happens, like, it could be happening. That's what I'm saying. It's a whole thing of how much do you really know? Like, they're not gonna tell people everything, because then the actual like panic and stuff would like actually start happening.
It'll just turn into chaos.
Yeah, but that's something that we'll never know unless like they let it out for some reason that comes up one day.
Yeah,
I'd be very surprised if that does.
I don't think that it will ever. I feel like everything that happened with Facebook with their algorithm, the Facebook files that the Wall Street Journal put out, about how they were pretty much driving the hate discussions and the hate comments, just because that's what people would interact with most.
Yeah,
even if they weren't actually, if they didn't even care about the topic, they would just see these things repeatedly and then end up developing said view. And people were interacting with the posts that generated some emotion, which are generally negative emotions. Yeah. That's what gets the most engagement. That's what people have been putting out. So I don't even know where I was going with that. But I don't know. Just like I don't know if we're too far down the path of we just want whatever we do that can make us happy, and then even if it's turning into something bad later on down the line, it doesn't even matter. Like, we don't even want to look at it. We don't want to look at the other side because it's easier just to keep our view. We don't want to have the conversation like we're having right now, because that could cause conflict. We don't want to seek to understand this other person.
That's what they're trying for us to do.
Yeah,
if you think about it, but it takes a higher thinking person to sit there and realize, like, why we always, like, there shouldn't always be so much aggression going back and towards it. Like, that's the scary part about it. Like, there should never be hostility for somebody's opinion on something simple. Shouldn't be hostile. And echo chambers exist because of media. Like, that's what it, like, an echo chamber is just a group of people that just, they all bouncing off the same ideologies. They don't ever hear the opposite side. So when they do hear it, it's almost taboo. Kind of cultish a little bit, but people won't admit it. Yeah. If you're in this, you don't want to hear that. That's not what you want to hear. Go back to your echo chamber. That's what's going in there. They're not ever going to say you're not thinking like them, because that's what they do. And it's both sides, on both sides of the coin. Like, if or politics, like left or right, people are blue or red, happens. But it's just like when one group is being silenced by the bigger group and it's kind of getting weird. That's an infringement of freedom as well. Yeah. Thinking about it, like some people, like certain accounts that or in social media accounts, if they're not saying what the majority is saying, they end up getting silenced by the majority. Yeah. It's taking away their freedom. But I think that's kind of weird. No, because they're not like under or strictly under like the freedom of speech and stuff, being able to go back and forth on, or in the business standpoint, because you're a business, you can run it how you want to. That's how we run the operating state. So if I'm the boss, I'm a boss of a company, I do have the ultimate say on like policies, as long as they're not infringing on anything too crazy. But it's my business. I make the rules. I can kind of say like, okay, you can't say anything in this, and kind of nitpick what you can and can't say. Yeah. And they have that freedom as well. So I mean, it's warranted, but it's also kind of creepy as well. Because as things are progressing, basically, if you don't agree with me, you're wrong, and I'm gonna let you know you're wrong because you're just not gonna be silenced. Boom, go on, no talk.
Do you think they were like too far down the line?
Oh, 100%. To be able to do that?
100%. You think technology is the biggest catalyst behind that?
Oh, 1,000%. Yeah.
What else do you think could have like fed into it? Because it's something that's like happened. People have never agreed on stuff before technology, but
it wasn't as hostile. Just think about it. Just 10 years ago, or not even 10, 5 years ago, you can sit there and talk to somebody normal, like going back and forth. But it's not like, or I wouldn't say 5 years ago. That's probably when everything started. But like back when we were both in high school, like you remember, you probably get on the game, people talking crazy and stuff like that. Yeah. But, like it wouldn't be like, oh, they say something to me, oh, I got to block or like mute them. No, we going back and forth. We like, if we're like arguing, we're going to go back and forth. We're not going to be like, oh, I'm like, like you're saying something mean to me. Which, I mean, people can take it how they want to, but it just, things weren't so soft. And people actually, like, I wouldn't say that they listen to each other, but they could hear people go back and forth and then just let it be. And then it's just meh.
And then move on from it.
Exactly. But now it's changing. It's like, no, like there needs to be a end or it needs to be finished. Someone needs to be right or wrong. Yeah. Like, there's no like, okay, like we hear each other and we have our opinions, and that's it's not gonna, I don't see that changing. Only thing that I see maybe making that happen is if there is something that it happens that is so bad, or I'm just not even say it like so bad, or like a a terrible attack on like the states where Americans got to come together again. Like 9/11, people like we're going back or like that happened. There's still like stuff going on, like little conflicts, like race and stuff, which is still a thing today. But that all got squashed when 9/11 happened because we all came together. We had a common enemy in a way. So like
I know what you mean. Yeah.
When people band together when there's major things happen. So something major would have to happen to make everyone kind of squash the beef for at least that time period and get together. That's what I have to take again. We've seen it before. I mean, it has to be something bad though. Yeah. Unfortunately.
But then like COVID, for example.
Yeah.
But it seems like with COVID, everybody's at home.
Yeah.
And now we're on our phones all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And then now
they get to,
we're here. It's even worse.
100% controlled by whoever is on the media. They get to decide what happens.
Yeah.
Well, or what stuff you get because you're supposed to be stuck at home, but like people. And then that leads down a whole trickle effect of like what you believe in and stuff like that. That's a whole mess.
Yeah.
But
and then there's information out there, but then again, it's if people actually take the due diligence to actually go out and read more than just the headline.
A bad thing about this technology, like we get everything so quick. You see big bold letters. That's what it has to be. Don't read anything else. Don't do any actual research. Look at other people. Like get the credibility of the sources. Who's writing articles? Who is the person right now? Like what are they about?
Yeah.
Getting what they're. It takes too much work. People don't want to do all that, and it shows. I mean, it shows, and it's a shame because we have all the information in the world in a little 4-inch phone.
Yeah.
Everything you can get access on the internet, and we don't want to do.
But now we're doing less.
The 20 to 45 minutes of research to go through and read, actually read some things and find out what the person's about, who's writing and stuff again like that.
And when you're saying we got the 24-hour news now,
yep,
it's all everything's breaking news today. So headlines, people don't want to actually, as you're saying, like. They don't want to do that.
Something positive is on there, but you be watching whatever crazy stuff is happening in the country, and at the bottom, little scrolling text. That's the positive stuff. As you see it, ain't no one paying attention to that. Like you looking at that.
It's crazy world we live in.
Yeah, they got to keep the reins up. They get some money. Money makes the world go around.
That is facts.
Yeah, that's what it has to be.
So there's always going to be a price on our freedom.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, I mean that's reasonable enough. I think you gotta. Yeah, that's something you do have to give up. You do have to give that up for freedom. Because the thing that kind of runs our freedom is our government, and we pay our government. And I feel like they should definitely kind of look out for the people more, but that's not what the government's kind of how it is now. It's a whole bunch of nepotism, in my opinion.
Yeah.
They just keep it like within their families. I honestly think, like, for me, with like politics and stuff, it's really weird. I don't think anybody. I think we need to cut off the age gap because there or ages for people being in the government, in our office. Which I understand that you would want an older person, but then the ages is kind of weird. I don't think we need like 65 plus.
Yeah. Because
when you work in like a regular job, not in the government, someone who's over 60, they're like a liability.
Yeah.
They're a liability, but these in a regular job. But I guess if you just thinking, but also when we're older, our minds start deteriorating and stuff too. So why would like?
And the generations like we have, I feel like our generation, we have a lot more. I feel like we have a lot more open-mindedness.
Yeah,
we're able to like look at different things.
Yeah,
but at the end of the day, our opinions are just becoming more divisive at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
But then I feel like the older generation or the previous generations, at least from my experiences and conversations that I've had, it's been, we grew up like this.
Yeah,
this is what I believe. I'm not changing from this.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like
it's a very old head thing too.
So we also have to have, as you were saying, like the age limit being pretty much eliminated, or at least lessened, so that people in the generation.
Because I don't want it to be like out of control. Like we got like some 25-year-olds running the country, like messing stuff up. I'm not talking about like that. But some of these people that are 65 plus, they lived in some bad times.
Yeah.
Like we hate a certain race of people type times.
Like we would not be doing what we'd be doing right now.
And I get that people can change. But if you lived during a time where you was really out here screaming you hate a certain race of people, I'm not going to be specific. You hate a certain race. And like you was out there in the front lines screaming it. And now, the times change, everything's moving. You just going to sit there and be like, I don't feel like that anymore. Come on now. You was out there in the front line saying terrible things you need to be saying, but now all of a sudden it's like, okay, we change. Now, some people do, but they're not looking out for the best interest of those people. You really seriously hated like a group of people, like for real. That was you. And what's an example of this? I work with an old head. Mm-hmm. He's 57, going on 57. And this is one time it was me and another person, just one other person at the site I work at now. And we ended up getting on the conversation of the critical race theory stuff. Yeah. And like how they want to implement it. And then the old head, older white guy, he was explaining to me how he's like, nah, like, I don't want them to be able to tell like what they teach my kid, this, that, and third. All it is teaching hate. And I'm like, and I had to sit there and kind of like give it to him, like, no, that's not. People being taught about like slavery and stuff is not teaching. It's not teaching hate. It's stuff that happened in this country. There's a lot of things that don't get taught in this country, or like specifically like World War II vets. Everyone thinks they came back and kind of got like praise and stuff like that. Yeah. I was certain the white folks got praise, but then the black vets or other race vets, they didn't get nothing. Yeah. Like nothing was given to them. Like they don't teach like stuff. Like, you have to look into that to see like what they were given and stuff like that. That's not producing hate. I don't hate nobody for that. But I mean, it's just like, you got to realize like what your country's like really about. Like, yeah, I understand. Like, I'm not asking for no handouts. I don't want no one to give me anything back or anything like that, but it needs to be taught. So the knowledge of that is there. Like, this did happen. These things do happen or have happened in this country. And just the ability to sit there and think like, oh, it's okay to just completely delete the fact of like you've done, or I can say you've done, that things were done in this country is crazy. Like, because you teach history so it doesn't repeat itself. You don't start deleting it and then teaching how you want to teach it, and what you want to put in there.
You can't omit certain parts to a story and try and say that it's true.
Like what you really trying to get? Like that's what the issue is. That's what I had to articulate to him, and we ended up agreeing to like disagree, but that's how most old heads be. Like, that's how it needs to be. That's how it should be. But that's just all topic on that. I don't think it's even like, that's not even like being open minded. It's just, I feel like that's how history should be taught. We don't need to limit what's being taught about history, and it's a really gross thing to do, in my opinion.
Yeah, I completely agree.
Because think about it, if I do some real terrible stuff to your family and then we're teaching it, or like teaching your family history, and I'm cutting out the terrible things that I've done. Yeah. It'd be like, wait, why is he not talking about that? Because this definitely happened. Yeah. Why are we not talking about it? Because that spreads hate. I don't want to talk about it. Like, it's like, but it's not a whole hate thing. It's just the fact that people not wanting to own up to things that the country has done. Yeah. Once again, not a bad thing. It's in the past. No bad blood. There shouldn't be any hate for being taught. It needs to be taught. So everyone is aware of the minor thing or two major things that have happened. Because it's a whole mess. And this is way past security and freedoms. Now we out here going race theory and stuff like that.
Well, we can wrap the episode up now.
We don't went on a little tangent right there. a little crazy.
It was a great conversation though. So just a tradition that I started. I'm gonna ask you 2 questions.
Okay, let's hear this.
So first question: What are 3 things that you live by, or your 3 keys to life?
3 keys to life. I'll give 3 keys. First key: no networking and know people. That's a major key. Major key. That's what it really is about. Like, like grinding works. You can work hard. You should work hard. But honestly, you got to work hard and know people.
I completely agree.
That's key 1.
I went on like a mini tangent on my intro episode.
2 would be stay true to yourself. Again, someone's fumbling my words at this. Stay true to yourself. Don't let anyone like push you over and do stuff like that. Yeah. Always do what you think is morally, ethically, and statistically right. Always do all 3 of those. Stay true to that. And 3, don't take stuff so serious. There's a time to be serious, but don't take everything super serious. You'll burn yourself out and be stressed out, looking older than what you need to look. Because I catch myself every now and then. I'm only 22. I stress myself out thinking like what's in the future for me, like what's to come. But if I think too hard about it, start getting panicky and stuff. That's not good. Yeah, I'm 22. It's gonna happen. If I keep being smart and keep doing the other keys and keep knowing, hey, get to know the right people and keep doing what I know. I know what I need to do. Keep doing that. Should be straight. It shouldn't be stressed. Don't stress out.
Yeah. No need to stress.
Exactly.
If you're doing what you need to do, there's no need to stress.
Everything should be chill. Exactly. Yeah. It shouldn't. As long as you ain't doing nothing crazy, that's keeping it chill.
Facts. And then last question.
Okay.
If you could have a conversation with a 12-year-old you, what would it be about, or what advice would you give, and why?
That's a question.
So like middle school, right before you're getting into high school.
What I tell myself? focus up. Don't be stupid. That's how I would tell myself. I definitely would do that. Focus up and enjoy the time. Enjoy this time of you not having to live. Like you're not really living when you like being brought up. Like when you leave out of high school, if you go to college route or you don't, life starts. Life is there. So I would definitely tell myself, enjoy it. Definitely enjoy it, but don't slack off. Take it more serious. I definitely did kind of backseat chill throughout high school. I probably could have gotten into more stuff because I'm about to say, if I just apply myself, that's my big thing. That's all it takes.
Some application.
Yeah. I definitely did realize that I can apply myself to the minimal in high school and still get through. I did that. And it hasn't bit me in my butt because I still had like a good work ethic. Like when it comes to like my job and stuff I do now, like this put me in a position where I am now. My hard work and dedication and things I do. It took me a minute to find out what I really wanted to start doing. That's why I was happy I found security. Like security became my thing. I like security. I like the work that I do. It's like it's definitely a boring field of work, but I found that things okay. This is it. I can do this. This can make me my money, but it's not where I want to be.
Yeah. So
I have a job and stuff or a profession I can go into, keep that rolling, while also trying to go into the higher things that I'm still trying to go for. So that's what I'm on my. That's where I'm at right now. That's what I tell myself. Stay focused and enjoy it.
That's gas.
Yeah,
we love to see it. But thank you for coming on my podcast.
Appreciate it.
This was a great conversation. Definitely gonna have to have you on many more times.
Oh yeah,
to have these conversations. Anything you want to promote? Anything you got going on? Any last words, comments?
I ain't got nothing to promote. You gonna see me on those social medias? I ain't got nothing to promote. I ain't got nothing. Enjoy the talk. Good time. That's about it.
Beautiful, beautiful. Thank you for tuning into Through Jeremiah's Eyes in this episode with Javon Beaver. Hope that you have a great day and a great rest of your week as well. Tune into the next episode. Thank you.
Stay easy.